Hey everybody, this is Roman from Roman Empire Entertainment. I have my good friend Noah here,
Hey everybody.
and we are going to be doing a review on Mandalorian and Grogu. I'm going to give like some parting thoughts to it since I do have another review for it. So you can check out that review, that full review of myself and Ruben for Roman and Ruben reviews. But in the meantime, I'm going to give my second thoughts on Mandalorian and Grogu. And before we do that though, Noah, I'd love to hear your background and your take on the Mandalorian and Grogu 2026 feature film.
Okay. So obviously, I'm a fan of Star Wars because most people are. I actually didn't start The Mandalorian when it first came out. I'd say I probably waited like a good, like at least 6 months until the series was actually finished before I started it. But I went into it kind of not expecting anything, but it's become one of my favorite Star Wars things ever, honestly. Like I really like the Mandalorian culture. I think it's really interesting because they're basically just space Spartans. But I have liked getting to see it all fleshed out because there's a bit of that in some of the older games, older comics, that sort of stuff. But now, like Mandalorian's like one of the most popular Star Wars characters. I don't know about ever, but he's definitely up there. Like when you see the Mandalorian, you're like, oh, that's the Mandalorian, and especially Grogu. If you don't know it's Grogu, you say, oh, it's Baby Yoda. Like everyone knows that become he's what he's what George wanted Jar Jar to be. But over the years, like every time a new season comes out, I've been kind of worried. I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna like this as much as I used to. But I rewatched season 1, 2, and 3 and the Book of Boba Fett before the movie came out just to like refresh everything because it had been a while. But I got through it and I was like, oh, I think season 3 honestly might be my favorite season. Which I know you're not as big of a fan as I am, but I feel like it's just an amalgamation of a bunch of things because a lot of the characters are coming back from older series and they're just like continuing their plots forward. Like Bo-Katan's one of my favorite Star Wars characters, like genuinely. I think it's really interesting that she used to be a literal queen of a planet and now she's just like kind of drifting through the galaxy, just trying to get by. No, I was very excited to see Mandalorian and Grogu. I unfortunately saw a bunch of critic reviews before, and they really had me worried. I was like, "Oh, am I going to hate this movie?" Because I kept seeing reviews that kept being like 50%, 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10. I was like, "Oh no!" But I really liked it. I liked it a lot. Baby Yoda is stealing the show. It's not even close. He's like one of the best parts of the movie. Little Grogu, he gets to step up. He gets to take care of his dad for once. And the little Anzellans, they consistently make me laugh. It's just something about the way they speak. The fact that they're like 6 inches tall, they're just little puppets. And there's like a good like 15 minutes in this movie where it's just puppets on screen. So I was like, this is great. I love this. But no, I really liked it. It's genuinely I wouldn't say it's my favorite Star Wars movie, but it's up there. I think I'd put it honestly above Return of the Jedi.
Wow, that's quite the endorsement.
I was very pleasantly surprised at how much I liked it.
Yeah, it was. Sometimes you're bored and you just listen to movie reviews, and it's like it kind
Yeah.
of. And I'm really trying to hold off on Masters of the Universe and scary movie reviews, even though I see the
Mhm.
thumbnails. I'm just like, oh, it's kind of
Yeah.
tempting, but then it's like, no, don't want to see that. Yeah, I like you had watched some reviews, and I get their take on it because I feel like there's so much Star Wars right now. I feel like
Oh yeah.
it's been glutted. Some of the stuff has been really good, like The Mandalorian. Some of the stuff not
Mhm.
so good. But I watched the first 3 seasons with my parents, so not only
Mhm.
do I have like a fan of the show, but also kind of that connection, that emotional connection
Yeah.
of something that we watched as a family all together.
Mhm.
And it did go back to the level of Star Wars of old. When it was the first season, I really liked that. It was nothing like the sequel trilogy. It had its own feel to it of nostalgia.
It's just a space western. It's like a Kurosawa movie. It's like what's the series Wolf and Cub where it's just a samurai and his little baby that he's got to take care of. It's just that, but it's a gunslinger in space.
Right, which is an interesting point you bring up because George Lucas was inspired by a filmmaker, Akira Kurosawa, for his
Yeah.
original Star Wars films. So that
Mhm.
definitely is I think, an appropriate comparison. I enjoyed the film. I think it's entertaining, but at the same time, it almost felt like Star Wars: The Battle for Endor on the big screen. It felt, and I don't mean the level of bad on that. I just mean the level. This could have been on Disney Plus. This could have been a really
Oh yeah.
entertaining time on Disney Plus. I think,
Mhm.
and I really do believe that Lucasfilm, I think they're trying to get their, I think they're trying to build their credibility back up with fans by making a relative, I said, safe movie. Like, but it's so safe in the fact there's like no real stakes in it. They had a villain
Yeah.
that, I mean, he looked like he was a board game villain, the first one, the coin, the guy on the trading card.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then the second villains were okay, it's like a lesser version of Jabba the Hutt, basically, is a
Oh yeah. His cousins.
his cousins. But again, I like the spaceships. I liked Mandalorian. I thought he was really cool in the beginning of it, where he's just left and right, just knocking off stormtroopers.
He is murdering those stormtroopers at the very beginning. Like, there's that one that falls off the AT-AT, and he like smacks his head on a rock, and you're like, that guy's so dead. He snapped his neck instantly.
Oh yeah, he's just tossing them out. And then I thought
Mhm.
it was kind of odd, that dialogue where the AT-AT commander was saying, get out now, and he's just said, "Well, sir, we're pilots. Like, that's not in our job description."
He's like, go shoot that guy. He's like, we're not going to do that. And he's like, of course you are. Because if you don't shoot him, we're going to die.
But what was interesting to me was that this was not connected to the sequel trilogy, even though this is between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens. I guess my question is, because I feel like, and I liked the first two seasons. Season 3 had its moments. I don't entirely hate season 3, but both my folks and I, we were all disappointed by just the storylines and everything. My question is, do you feel like this has any gas left? Do you see Mandalorian and Grogu living on for further sequels or cameos and other Star Wars properties?
I could definitely see it as cameos. Cameos wouldn't be hard because like they've already done that with like Ahsoka. Ahsoka shows up in season 2 of Mandalorian, and then there's Zeb. Zeb is from Rebels. I don't know if you even know that. He's from one of the cartoons. Like his like right hand. He's
He
a callback.
he's
Um,
recognizable. He's definitely. I
yeah.
didn't see Rebels. I saw the whole Clone Wars show, but I do recognize
Mhm.
him in some of the other Rebels characters. Yes.
Like he's the only like recurring character really other than Rada, obviously. But even Rada, he wasn't a character. He was just a little screaming baby in the Clone Wars movie. But he gets to be like an actual character now, which is interesting. It's interesting seeing how different he is from his dad. I thought they did a really good job. I think Jeremy Allen White did a very good job of giving him a personality because you think to yourself, okay, what's Jabba the Hutt's son going to be like? He's like a pretty chill guy. He's just kind of a dude. Like there's that scene where him and Grogu are just playing on the beach, like literally splashing around in the sand. I was like, oh, that's adorable. This guy's dad like used to murder people for drug money.
Yeah, it was. Well, the thing about Rod of the Hut, you're right. He's just some dude you just want to chill out and have chips and a beer with. He's a cool guy. I mean, he's somebody you'd like to bring on a podcast.
Yeah, no, I could definitely see him with some headphones being like, "Yeah, man, it's just my dad. I want to be nothing like him. I just want to be my own guy." And then the podcast host is just slowly nodding, just looking at him while he's just going on for like 5 minutes.
You know, what's interesting is, and I don't think this is said enough, and this is my opinion, solely my opinion, but I think, we all say the live action films, oh, that's the worst one, or that's the worst one. I think, in my
Mhm.
opinion, the absolute worst one that was just a slog and a pain to get through was Star Wars: The Clone Wars, the 2007 feature film. And I know that was just,
Really?
yeah, because in my opinion, they were just cobbling things together. And it was I felt, a bad introduction to the Clone Wars series, which I think was
Yeah.
really good. But I just, the baby, Rod of the Hutt, the baby version of
Mhm.
him, it leaned way too hard, I felt, on the childish aspect of,
Yeah.
of the Star Wars
Yeah.
movies.
That's very interesting to me because like I would probably put the Clone Wars movie. It's not like super high up there. I'd probably put it under like Force Awakens. It's kind of like middle of the road for me. Like I'm not crazy about it, but there is some stuff in there I really like. It's mostly just because I like those characters because of the Clone Wars TV show. But I remember when it first came out, I didn't really like the movie that much either. And I've definitely softened on it over time.
What's your thoughts, the box office of this film? Because there has been talk, we talked about the back rooms recently, the film Obsession. I haven't seen Obsession yet, but I've been hearing a lot of
I
good,
haven't either.
yeah, a lot of good stuff about it. Do you feel it's a shame that the box office was so low for Mandalorian and Grogu?
I mean, I can see why it would be low because obviously not everyone's going to watch, not everyone's going to do what I did, watch 3.5 seasons of a TV show to be like, oh, I got to catch up. And honestly, with this movie, you don't really need to do that. It's pretty self contained. Like the only spoilers are Grogu's Baby Yoda's name. At one point, they get a house. And then the armor made Grogu a little like bulletproof vest at a Beskar. That's about it. Other than that, it's kind of standalone. Like you could just watch it by itself.
Yeah.
But in terms of like the box office, it's making good money. It's just not making Star Wars money, which is the problem. Because obviously, every other Star Wars thing, even the ones people don't like, they made shit zillion dollars because it's Star Wars. I feel like this is the first one where people aren't going out in droves because it's not like a new trilogy. It's kind of like what happened with Rogue One and Solo, where it didn't make a huge amount of money. It still made money because, it's Star Wars. And there's always going to be like the ride or die fans. I guess I'm probably one of those. But even then, I hadn't seen Solo until like a few months ago. But I feel like another part of it just has to do with like theaters in general. Like people aren't going to theaters nearly as much as they used to because people got used to watching stuff at home. Like if people watched The Mandalorian and Grogu at home, I feel like they would be a lot less critical about it because they wouldn't have to go to a theater. They wouldn't have to pay for tickets. They wouldn't have to pay for snacks. They wouldn't have to get seating. I feel like opinion's going to go up once it's available to stream.
Yeah, that kind of that home video rental market that made a number of films successful, back in the 90s, back in the 80s and 90s when they weren't successful in the movie theater. Okay, so I was telling my buddy Ruben this. I said, what I would really love to see is, I think they need to take a break from it, but this is just my point of view on this. I think if they took Star Wars, The Force Awakens, Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker, made those films, put those into Star Wars Legends, like the What Ifs,
make them uncanon,
uncanon them, decanon them, and then maybe go to the Heir to the Empire, the Thrawn trilogy as a reference, and do an animated, like a trilogy, like a movie, because and a 2D style animation, not a CGI, movie. And lean heavily on that. Get writers who are fans of that particular trilogy. Get people. Maybe even get George Lucas as a guide, because they didn't really have that in the sequel trilogy. Get him as like a story consultant. I think it could really be a banger if they reconcile the relationship, I think, with a lot of the Star Wars fans and get that back. What do you think?
Let's be real, Roman. You just want to see live action Mara Jade. Let's be honest here. You want to see Luke Skywalker's very, very sexy wife. But even then, like what you're saying about like Heir to the Empire, they were kind of setting that up with Ahsoka because it's all about tracking down Thrawn. And then, spoilers for Ahsoka, anyone who hasn't seen it, would be kind of surprised if you hadn't seen it, but you're watching this. But anyway, Thrawn shows up and he's great. He's like the best part of the show. But now it seems like they're leaning less towards that sort of thing, where I think Jon Favreau specifically said that people were asking, why isn't Ahsoka in this? Why isn't Thrawn in this? He's like, I wanted it to stand on its own. Because I think originally they said this was going to be a season 4, which makes sense because you can feel in the movie when an episode would end. You could be like, okay, this is one episode, this is another episode, this is a third episode. And then it feels like they kind of just stitched them all together. But even then, like, I wouldn't even say it's a bad thing. It's a really good, like, plot line. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very interesting seeing how, because you only see Jabba in the movies. You don't really see how the other Hutts like interact with each other. And the twins, they're trying to kidnap Rada and like torture him to death just so they can get his dad's land.
Yeah, which was interesting because I guess he was essentially the heir to the Hutt
Mhm.
scene, the Hutt empire, so to speak. And then it's like he's just kind of doing it. He just wants to do his own thing. He's like I feel like he's the real successful version of Jar Jar in the sense that Jar Jar was just like a hippie who just gets caught up in the battle. And, I feel like Rada, he just wants to be a hippie. He doesn't really want to get involved in the Star Wars, and they got to get rid of him though because it's just a technicality. Which I think
Yeah.
if it would have been cool if he just goes there and say, "Hey, you just want me to sign this title of the now Hutta to my uncle and aunt?" Say, "Yeah, okay, great. I can go become a jazz singer or something."
Well, another big difference between Jar Jar and Rada is 5 times the size of Jar Jar, and he's the buffest creature I've ever seen in my life. The dude is made out of biceps. It's crazy.
He's not an out of shape slug. I mean, he's an in
Yeah,
shape slug.
he only does arm day. His arms are insane.
There should be some memes coming out of Rada, like, "Do you even lift, bruh?" That
Yeah,
those kind of
he's
memes.
gonna be the new Ben Swallow.
Yeah. I definitely recommend. I would recommend it on the caveat that, well, it's already going into its like what, fourth weekend now at the
Yeah.
box office. So I'd say save your money, but see the film on Disney Plus. I do think it's
Oh yeah.
enjoyable.
No, especially if like money's tight right now, I would probably just wait because, like you said, in a couple months it'll probably be on Disney Plus, and I really liked it. I'd probably give it like maybe like a 7.5 or an 8. Like
Mhm.
I liked it a lot more than I expected to.
Mhm.
But if especially like right now, everyone's trying to save money, everyone's trying to be like cutting costs, that sort of thing. I would definitely, if you're not sure, then you should wait.
Yeah, unfortunately, the movie theaters have turned into like going to Disneyland now. It's like, it's
I
like
know.
it's an event. Take the whole family. It's not. It's no longer like, hey, I'm just going to go out. But I do love the fact that I would say to anybody out there, check and see if your movie theaters have like the Tuesday night. It must be like
Oh
National
yeah.
Discount Day.
The $5 Tuesdays.
Yeah, because you get theater experience. It's on a weeknight that you can see it. You don't have to break the bank for it. I recommend still going to see movies at the theater. This one, hold on.
I'm a little bit more up on it than you are, but yeah, I'm kind of with you there. Where it's like, if you want to save some money, just wait. But if you really want to go see a Star Wars in theaters, go for it.
Yeah, well, I definitely think that my folks would have liked the movie. I really do. I believe it was something that was a little bit of a salvation, from my opinion, for season three. They didn't put the Mandalorian like in the corner. They didn't put him in as a supporting character, and that's what I felt like with series three. That's what my biggest criticism of that was, like
Mm.
he wasn't tossing stormtroopers out of AT-ATs.
True, he didn't kill 40 men in 2 minutes.
No, he was like practically having therapy sessions, in
Yeah.
season three. It wasn't the true coolness factor, Clint Eastwood factor that I
Mhm.
had expected, from the previous seasons.
That sort of thing.
Hmm.
Like, obviously, he's supposed to be a cowboy because, of course. I didn't know Brendan Wayne because there's 3 actors. I don't know if people know this. There's 3 actors who play the Mandalorian. There's Pedro Pascal, where obviously if the helmet's off, it's him, and then he does the voice. But there's also Lateef Crowder. I want to say he does all of like the stunts, like all of like the hand to hand combat. And then there's Brendan Wayne. He does like the general like walking around, and he does like the like gun slinging sort of stuff. I didn't realize he's related to John Wayne.
That's a very cool fact.
I was like, oh, that makes perfect sense why you're a cowboy. Your grandpa is the cowboy.
I do like the idea that in future like superhero movies, I would want to see them do like The Mandalorian, in the sense that you get more of the costume time, you get more of the mask, you get more of the costume. You,
Mhm.
you could make that as a criticism of Mandalorian and say, "Oh, we don't see, the lead, we don't see Pedro Pascal because you're not supposed to see him.
Yeah.
That's his way, so to speak." But I think
Mhm.
like with Spider-Man and Captain America and Batman,
Oh yeah.
I want to see more of the costume. That's why I'm going there.
Yeah. Well, even in this movie, you see Pedro Pascal for like I want to say like 10 or 15 minutes when he's fighting that big old snake. I think the amount of time you see him in this movie is more than like all 3 seasons put together.
I enjoyed it. And what are your lasting thoughts on it, Noah?
I am. curious what they're going to do with the Mandalorian and Grogu in the future, because obviously the Mandalorian, he's just a guy. I'm assuming he has like a normal human lifespan, but Grogu, he can live. Yoda lived to be like 1,000 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So even if the Mandalorian doesn't come back, I could definitely see them bringing back Grogu in the future as like a new Yoda.
Well, bring him back for the hopefully Heir to the Empire Thrawn trilogy.
There you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll do a 1-to-1 1-to-1 of Heir to the Empire, but then you just slot Grogu. He's just also there.
Yeah, just kind of just paste him in the entire movie in
Yeah,
some way. Yeah,
exactly.
doing something cute or something. Anyways, Noah, thank you so much for joining me again on the second look at Mandalorian and Grogu. And we'll be back for future collaborations and reviews. And please don't forget to give us your comments. What did you think of The Mandalorian and Grogu? And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. This is Roman again from Roman Empire Entertainment. And you have a good one.
Bye, everybody.